Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to Firing Range, a podcast to talk about all things Destiny, weapons, abilities, loadouts, and the sandbox at large. And maybe occasionally Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. It might be in the future. I don't know. Interesting things. So we were going to go live last week, if you're keeping score at home. And then we decided to not go live last week because instead there was a special episode of regular DCP where a couple folks at Bungie hopped on over on the show, and Merc and I swung over there to have a chat with Tefty and Watts and Co. and all that junk, and we talked about Void 3.0, and I think it was a good mixture of both enlightening and fear-inspiring. I don't know how many of y'all here watched that. Any of you catch that show?
I read it.
I also read it.
Gotcha. I think I saw Drew actually in the chat, though. I think I know he was there. Drew was hanging out in there.
Yeah, I was a little in and out, kind of lurking while I was doing other stuff.
We appreciate that. We appreciate the lurking. But yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But good to see all y'all. Cammy, you're looking particularly dapper. I feel bad for the people who only listen to the show because they can't see the combo. First of all, I feel like the beard is fuller, and then you got some kind of tuxedo shirt going on right now.
Tuxedo t-shirt, yes sir.
Very classy, very classy.
Classic.
Cool guy, is that a Thorn shirt?
It is.
I like it.
Cool guy wear our Sunday best to the Iron Banner.
And dude, this Destiny hat is a beta 2014 hat. I've kept in pristine condition.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks clean, dude. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. One of my favorite hats.
Bad. Unfortunately, Merc isn't here tonight. I wanted to kind of debrief with him about Void 3.0, but he's doing something. I don't know. I can't remember. Getting married, something like that. I don't know.
Bettering his life.
Top.
Something crazy.
Throwing his life away. Something. I don't know. He's not here tonight. We'll catch up with him later. But yeah, final show before the Witch Queen. It's officially launching next week. How are we feeling right now?
I'm excited.
I'm feeling drained from this whole season.
You feeling drained?
The longest season ever? What do you mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How come we couldn't go longer? Yeah, right? Like
to me, this has always been season of the Lorentz.
Hey.
My God. I think actually Glow, I see Glow, our good friend Glow in the chat right now. One of the questions we put out on Twitter. If you're listening at home every week before the show, we put out on Twitter like, hey, what do you want to hear us talk about and all that crap. And Glow weighing in with what is everybody's thoughts on the Lorentz driver nerf? I don't think it'll be enough.
Yeah, if we want to jump into that one, I don't think it'll be enough.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it'll be enough.
It depends. Also don't think it'll be enough.
With the flinch system that's in place, it's not enough.
Right.
If they
what would they have to do to make it enough?
They would need to go back to the Destiny 1 flinch for snipers and zoomed weapons.
Meaning, for the people out there who didn't play D1.
I have some great footage of that. Essentially, when you were looking down a sniper, I mean, of course, the Lorentz has a closer zoom, but it would kick so high, you would literally see the actual barrel of the weapon. And it would just straight go to 12 o'clock noon, dude. Straight up. It would need something like that. And when that weapon came out, like a week and a half later, I put up a video saying, hey, the Lorentz problem. And I was like, don't nerf it. It's really fun. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. And it's funny because Cam and I played trials over the weekend, and I hadn't played trials in like 3 months. We went 40-0. We didn't lose a game. And every time that we saw a Lorentz on the other team, I brought mine out and just wiped the lobby with it, dude.
That's kind of like a game theory. Season. You ever study game theory or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's that thing where it's like I can't remember what they call it. Like if there's a sack of money on the table and we can only both get the money if we both agree, if we both hit the green button, but if one person hits the red button, you steal the money. And if both people hit the red button, no one gets any money.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cammy knows what I'm talking. Basic game theory. Cool guy flexing
Lorentz
a
is
little
mutually
basic
assured
game
destruction.
theory.
But yeah,
Yeah,
this deep into the season, everybody knows. We knew the first week of the season that Lorentz is strong. But since they also announced like
Yeah.
Igneous Hammer going away, you can see the desperation in every loadout. It was really bad. It was Lorentz almost every game.
I usually like to give Bungie the benefit of the doubt because they've created a game that we all enjoy very much. We clearly wouldn't be doing this show or doing what we do for a living if we didn't enjoy the game. But every now and then, do something which deserves a very notable head scratch. And that first pass with Lorentz Driver? Wasn't it like,
oh, I can't get class ability energy anymore? Oh no, whatever will I do?
They thought that was the problem. That they were like, don't worry guys, we hear you about the driver. We're going to take away the ability to get the ability energy on the kill. We're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nobody's complaining about that. It's just the fact that like I saw a video on Twitter. I can't even remember who put it together. It might have been Glow. I don't know. My memory's been just mushed together, but it was just a whole video montage of every time the driver, someone was getting shot as they were using the driver, and they just charged it up and the headshot went through anyway. Like, it doesn't matter how hard they were getting hit. The shot just went right through. It was like a lull flinch montage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it needs an accuracy nerf. I mean, yeah, that goes hand in hand with aim assist, like similar to Arbalest, but essentially with an accuracy nerf, that dot, that reticle would need to be on their head with 0 forgiveness. That's what it really needs.
Gotcha.
I think
you might be right about that. I don't know. Yeah, like, I think most people are in full agreement that it needs a little something. Sorry, Drew, I was so zoomed in on your beautiful face. I didn't check the overlay there for a minute. Now we're good. Yeah, it needs a little something. I've just been seeing a lot of it lately, and I don't know. You ever have that feeling that we're always just maybe like an inch away from a really
all the time, every season,
every single season, and this is why I'm drained. I'm drained because I'm tired of going through the same cycle every Destiny expansion.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Lorentz?
Yeah, something
is going to get balanced, and a new one.
Yeah, something in Void 3.0 is going to be incredibly strong, and it's going to be incredibly strong for a couple months. And it's always going to be that one thing.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, all you got to do is just make it not do it that well, and we'll be okay.
So to Bungie's defense, anytime they nerf something ever so slightly, the community's like, useless, like Lord of Wolves, for example.
Yeah.
Like, I can't use it.
Shadebinder?
Chaperone's still going to be God tier next season, just so y'all know, but...
We're coming in with really hard takes right now. Oh man, I wonder if Merc would agree or disagree. I'm trying to think of what Merc would bring to the table right now. Something about Star Wars. I don't know. I think he also doesn't like the Lorentz driver as well. But I think because we're 2 or 3 weeks out from our last show, I don't think we talked about the weapon crafting TWAB. Did we talk about the weapon crafting TWAB?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't think that we did with depth and meaning.
No, the one from February 3rd. What do y'all think about that one? Did you catch that one?
Yeah.
Those always leave me with more questions than info.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. They did a pretty okay job explaining what it would bring to the table, but until you actually get your hands in the dough, you never really know for sure. What was that one thing they mentioned in the weapon crafting TWAB? It's sort of like a weapon perk, origin traits. Did you guys take a glance at the origin traits? The origin traits?
Incredible.
Yeah, unbelievable. The tweets. Yeah, if you're listening at home and you don't read the TWAB, these are new kind of perks that are coming to weapons. I think in the future, did they confirm that they're coming out? They're not being added retroactively, right?
Right, it'd be on the new guns.
They have to be new. So essentially, before Witch Queen, a lot of you will be listening over the weekend, and some of you have probably already done a lot of your vault queening. I still need to do so. And when you look at your vault, I mean, automatically out of the gate, everything in your vault is in the past because they can't get the new intrinsic traits. Now, that doesn't mean things are bad. Like, you should still keep your daily drivers. You should still keep, like, I have a nice headstone Ice Luna that I use all the time with my stasis subs. The salvo, like, it's not going to have intrinsic traits, but it's literally the only thing with chain reaction from a tube launcher. So, like, you shouldn't get rid of those, even though they don't have the intrinsic traits. But a lot of the weapons are going to be replaced once you get the direct comparison, right? Because there's going to be 540 pulses and 390 pulses, whatever comes out, right? They said 40, 50 weapons. Essentially, you're going to look at those with what you have in the past, the perk combinations that you can craft, or what comes on the weapon. And that's when you can make those decisions. Like, I like to keep every archetype of every element. And I brought this up recently. Like, as far as a rapid fire pulse, we have Jurassic Green, Darkest Before, the Gridscaper, Void, Solar, and Arc. So I have everything, and that helps build variety for me when I go into PvP or PvE. Maybe Path of Burning Steps with Jurassic Green. You get it. So once I get the replacement of that element, I'm going to look at everything that it has as intrinsic trait, and then I'll make the decision to get rid of some of my older ones. And that could be as simple as recoil direction. Like, if it has perfect recoil direction out of the gate, and the one that I have doesn't have perfect recoil direction with, let's say, a counterbalance mod or arrowhead, I'm just going to toss it. Because it's new, it's in the now.
So a question. Are these origin traits in addition to or replacing of a perk? So is it a third perk or a second perk?
Addition to, with selectable between, like, there's the Crucible one and the Vanguard one, but there's also the Foundry one. Like, I think that the Hake weapons are going to be some of the best in the game. Because that Hake breach,
right.
yeah, like skyrocketing to the top because it does more damage to vehicles. And in PvP, more damage to barriers, Bleak Watchers, and stasis crystals. So that's going to be like a must-have.
The one that I really was interested in was the Suros one, that extra flinch resist for like 6 seconds after reloading. That looked
incredible.
Yeah, really hot to me.
And how I understood it, like, it's a Suros hand cannon from Crucible. Like, you should have the choice between the Suros intrinsic and the Crucible intrinsic, which is the plus 40 reload when not in combat for 4 or 5 seconds. I don't think that you have them both. You get to choose. But still, variety is a good thing. Never a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm digging.
Well, I'm not choosing. It's going to be anti-flinch every time.
Every time.
Already made.
Every time.
Where are my Suros snipers at?
Yeah. Hook a man up, please. I'm just re-looking over the origin traits right now. If you are at home and you haven't heard about this from the TWAB, I'll read just a few of them off to you. You got Trials of Osiris. The trait is going to be Alacrity. You get extra reload, stability, aim assist, and range. I think if you're the last, if you're the last living member of your fire team, which
Celerity.
also includes Rumble, by the way. Like, that sounds
awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. For Nightfall Strikes, Stunning Recovery gives you 60 health immediately and 40 recovery for 3 seconds after you stun a champion. Crucible, One Quiet Moment, gives you increased reload speed when you're not in combat, which is haven't dealt or received damage in 4 seconds. That one, how do you guys feel about that one? I feel like
Passively good.
Passively good.
Yeah, because,
well, if it's in addition to.
Yeah. So, yeah, think about like your Messenger or your Igneous Hammer. If you don't have unloaders or whatnot, passively in between, that helps out tremendously. For a lot of those weapons, it literally doubles their reload.
I think I have a lot of muscle memory to deal with. I feel like right when I'm done, I've trained myself for years. Right when I'm done with an engagement or a kill, I'll just immediately.
That's the best part about this. You don't have to change
reload.
anything to get a benefit. It's sometimes you find yourself needing to reload your shotgun and you haven't received damage in 4 seconds. And by the time you show up, you reload your hand cannon.
That's fair. Strikes, Vanguard, Vindication. Final blows with the weapon give a small amount of health. That's not bad. I'll take that. Anytime it makes sense, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, I'm just reading more things. Okay, that's all the original origin ones, and then the other ones based on weapon type, which we briefly covered. Suros 1 gives you extra handling, 40 handling, by the way. It's a lot of handling. And 20% flinch resistance for 6 seconds after reloading. Hake, improved damage.
I just realized
yeah.
That makes the reload stat matter. Like, I used to avoid so many of those perks.
Reload Masterwork, I'll
Reload
take it.
Masterwork, Flared
Yep.
Magwell.
No,
That's
you're
true.
just
Yeah.
gonna be shooting and reloading every second that you don't have that. It's
Reminds
literally
me of the
what's gonna
time that
turn
I.
into.
I'm an Ophidian main
That's so bizarre though. Like, why make that a
requirement.
have to reload? Because aren't you just gonna run around shooting and reloading then? Like, I guess
Yes.
technically you have a point of vulnerability.
I'm never
but, like,
peeking unless I shoot and reload.
yeah,
exactly.
like why would I not? Why would I peek without that?
I guess that kind of hurts
Is-
invis, but even then,
Is it flinch clip?
It
No, I
could be
guess,
like a
but
little bit of a trade-off
weird.
where maybe if you're not completely paying attention, like maybe an audio cue, right? Like all of a sudden there's a lane that you thought like, oh, I didn't think anybody was there, and then you just hear some schmuck shooting the wall to try and trigger a little hake flinch, and you're like, oh, okay, there is a dude over there, and like he maybe has to quickly activate the reload before getting into engagement. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a very tiny trade-off for what seems like a large benefit.
so hear me out. I wonder if
And
there's
it's
going to be
only on-
interactions with like Marksman's Dodge, Actium War Rig, just shoot one auto rifle bullet, it reloads, now Aaron flinching.
But
Steps.
it's also just on one foundry, right? It's only on Suros, and that's such a like,
Correct.
game-wide like impactful mechanic as far as PvP. And like, I know they said there's gonna be more ways to build into it. We haven't gone there, but it's just
Well,
don't
I
know,
mean,
somebody-
a good example, Drew, is I'm kind of like I'm partial to the annual skate. It's a good hand cannon. It's good. I prefer other hand cannons, but that elevates the annual skate a little bit.
Someone in
Yeah,
our
it does.
live Twitch chat right now, either Nova Base or Nova Bass, not sure how to pronounce your name, but mentioning that might hurt special weapons. Could be a crafty move by Bungie to be like, how do we get people to stop relying on special weapons? I know. Give them a really good buff if they just reload, which they can reload their primaries indefinitely because we gave them unlimited ammo. Could be a tinfoil hat theory. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly tempting me to think more
I
about
just want
using
Suros to make every
Suros
weapon in the
primary
game.
weapons.
Like, please
yeah.
expand. I will fund Suros myself. Didn't we do that in one of the seasons? Funded a
Suros
foundry or
Glaive.
something?
Yeah. About to become the #1 financial
Empyrean
supporter of
Foundation,
Suros.
something like that.
And then we have the Omelon one, where weapon has increased reload speed and stability for the top half of the magazine.
That's nuts.
I dig that. It's like a better version, or not a better. It's a different version of like high impact or under pressure or something like that.
Front
right?
loaded under pressure,
Front loaded under pressure.
over pressure. So that Crucible hand cannon, what's the word that the aspirational? Wait, what's it called?
Which one?
Like I believe that they said that for Crucible it's getting an Omelon hand cannon. Or am I way off?
I think you're right. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but there definitely is a.
There's like a
Crucible
picture of
hand
it?
cannon. Yeah, it looks like a Nerf gun. it's all
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
pretty
rename
orange
Omelon
and
for you.
Yeah,
red
so-
colored.
Origin trade is
like-
Mega Bloom.
Like I think that an under pressure version of that is warranted to have the front and end of that thing being stable. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's kind of tight. I'm feeling that for sure. Let's see what else we have here in the weapon crafting. Again, it's been a while. We've got like 2 TWABs to share our thoughts on. Oh boy. Yeah, those were kind of the major. Any additional thoughts on anything that they had mentioned? Again, I know it's a lot in the weapon crafting TWAB.
Other than I'm super excited to finally have a deterministic way to get the weapon I want.
Exactly. And
I hope they don't miss the
Yeah.
landing on this. I really don't.
and you aren't locked into it. That was probably my favorite part of it. Because I spent a lot of time playing the game.
Yeah.
And
Do
it would really suck to spend a lot of time into something and it didn't meet your expectation, right? So they're
Yeah.
going to allow you to go back and fine tune it a little bit more.
I'm glad
I mean,
too. But
yeah.
even if it was not the case, I'd still take it because that's way better than what we have.
Cammy, what would be a way for Bungie to, not that I'm encouraging them to drop the ball, but how would you view, what would happen with weapon crafting that would make it a drop the ball experience for Cammy?
Where weapons that aren't in the craftable pool are significantly better.
Weapons that aren't in the craftable pool are significantly better.
AKA a trials drop is significantly better than the craftable hand cannon. to where you might as well just never go for the craftable hand cannon.
But you can, in the system, can't you shape or you can modify, you can reshape and modify an existing weapon, right?
We don't know what exists, and that's one of my biggest questions.
Right. I think they did mention that over time, I think the first pass through of the weapon crafting system is only going to apply, I think, to new Witch Queen weapons. But I think they mentioned somewhere.
I hope they expand it to everything. I really do.
Yeah.
And trust, this is a great system for new players too, because they don't necessarily have everything. It's nice to be able to have something that is a good starter pack weapon that they can guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Think like Rose hand cannon and other famous fixed rolls.
When they say new Witch Queen weapons, does that mean like existing weapons that are like still in Witch Queen? Like, for example, I don't know, like what Trials weapon is still there, but like whatever Trials weapon or Iron Banner weapons rolling over from this season to the next, is that counted as a Witch Queen weapon, or is like?
That is a great question. So Drew, I guess what you're saying is, if I think what you're saying is, so let's just pick a weapon, right? Let's pick Shire's Wrath, right? Let's
Sure.
just pick a weapon.
Goated.
So clearly not a quote Witch Queen weapon because it's been around for a while. But when Trials inevitably does return to the Witch Queen, and let's say the first weekend up, Trials comes back. Hey, the weapon you get for going flawless is ta-da, Shire's Wrath. Are we going to be able to acquire that quote unquote new Shire's Wrath and craft and reshape that? Yeah,
is
like, that craftable?
A Witch Queen weapon?
Because it's a weapon.
If that's craftable, then that's a great system. I'm all behind it.
But it could be not craftable. They could be limiting. You know, when you look at a weapon in your inventory or whatever, and it has the fresh new symbol, meaning like this is a fresh new Witch Queen experience weapon. Maybe it would only apply to that the first pass around, and then like later they'll add more weapons to that pool. I know what you're saying, Drew, for sure.
Well, Madness Buccaneer in chat just told us that during Witch Queen reveal, they said
the Throne World
craftable weapons at launch would be Throne World, Seasonal, and Raid.
Interesting. Okay.
So to me personally, as much as I think this is a great system, starting out, I'm very happy to have it, and it looks very robust and interesting, but that kind of is a little bit of a miss to me. And there's still a lot that we don't know about the weapon crafting system and how it will be expanded. Is this it almost I can't shake the feeling a little bit of and I'm sure this is part of it, which is not a bad thing, but we don't have sunsetting anymore, so there has to be new reasons for us to go get weapons. Makes sense, right?
Sure.
But is this gonna kind of drip feed us again, all our old weapons back to us?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not terrible if that is the case. It's not awful, right? Like,
it's not bad at all. Like, honestly,
like, I still get to use my old ones, and it's
you still
like
get to use your old ones.
right?
And let's say you missed on the frozen orbit. Well, now you can finally get the best version of it.
Yeah, like, and I can still use my old ones while I'm working towards a new one. So, like, ultimately, it is a better system, and I want to be like very blunt when I say like I am happy that it is existing. It's just gonna suck a little bit, the waiting period for waiting for my favorite weapon to come back as craftable. And it's gonna suck for the weapons that I have yet to get good rolls of, that I'm like kind of sitting there, well, like, why would I go for this when one day it might be craftable? So that the mystery behind that and not knowing enough maybe about this system is kind of the only way that it's kind of been a miss to me. If I had to say something,
I'm 100% with Drew. He said it better than me.
Yeah, I'm with that. Overall, though, I think the potential here is huge. I don't want to just, only shine the light on one half the coin, which I don't think we're doing. I just want to make sure that I definitely am clear in my opinion, which is that like I am goddamn thrilled that they are giving us some kind of weapon crafting system. I've been like begging for this ever since. Remember way back in the day in D1 where we could reforge. Y'all remember weapon reforging at the gunsmith there? Yeah, that was much more of a crapshoot though. That was just turn in material and just keep pulling the lever.
Still way better than full RNG.
Dude, I'm gonna go further than that, dude.
Go further beyond.
Like, remember, you needed motes of light to absolutely level up the weapon. If you didn't, you went out and farmed public events to literally rank up your perks to use it.
And the spin metal farm, you used to have the routes.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Up until this point, we have built up to this And once they introduced that reforge, like a lot of people were going for like shot package matadors back then,
Yeah.
you know, or kill clip hopscotch pilgrims, and you could just keep doing that. But then, for whatever reason, they just stopped doing that, and years went by, and we're here, and this is probably going to be the best version. And to kind of follow up with Drew, I think like one of the key missing pieces is the crafting loop. Like, how much is it going to cost? How much time is it going to take? Because I think back to those early Destiny weapons of getting kills with them, ranking them up slowly, or you had a lot of motes of light, you just apply that to the weapon. Those took a long time as well. And you couldn't change anything. That was just to get the gun working.
Yeah.
I think another major concern that I see a lot in the chat as well is that if there's any sort of like, hey, if you can pay for some sort of a skip advantage or some, I don't know, any sort of, you know, pay for something.
Can I just pay for vault space while we're on this?
Pay for materials.
Or like some concerns I see, again, just because I feel like we should represent them from chat, is like,
sure.
Some folks also mentioning if there is any sort of weekly limitation, stuff like that. Those are the things that will probably not see the system succeed, even though I think at the moment it's set up to generally succeed, even with those concerns. But I think for a lot of people, those would be the things that would be not.
I have a question. That's a really good point. Say that there is a cap on your materials, essentially meaning you're going to have to craft something. Like we aren't stockpiling, but like it opens up the door for things like, what if they had a double crafting material weekend? You're getting kind of like double XP.
I'd be down. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that weekend, you like maybe it would come once every month, once every couple months, but that weekend, like you're crafting, you're getting it done.
I would pop off that weekend.
Yeah, you know, Bungie do that, by the way.
Yeah, no more of the, have that replace the, what is it, the gambit, the double gambit, the triple gambit weekend.
You just standing there. Come on.
Nobody.
Oh, shout out to Gambit rework, please.
Yeah, nobody cares about that. They got to do a lot of reworking, bro. The drifter better be doing my taxes, making me breakfast.
I'd like to also see Gambit crafting too, man. Bottom dollar out here. It took forever to get a decent one.
God, if any
and I only saw 4
needed it, if any weapon needed it so badly, it's those goddamned Gambit weapons with like 24 perk deep. Column 3, 4. It's like, get that trash out of here, dude. I played like 15 games of Gambit. You get one bottom dollar. And like, what are the mathematical odds that it's going to be the roll that you're looking for?
It was a super pull. I think it had 16, right? 16 in each.
Yeah, it was like
or 12.
It was like 12 to 14 perks in each column. And it's like,
I got an outlaw multi-kill clip day one.
Yeah, well,
dude.
good for you, buddy boy.
That was good.
Lottery ticket too, like
dredging out.
Damn. Like, geez, that system is just savage. But yeah,
I learned how to play Gambit with callouts and everything just to start getting more efficient bottom dollar drops. And yeah, I got some good ones, not gonna lie, but
for
not
sure
the ones. My
God in heaven. Yeah, but anyway, let's do a little, because someone did ask on Twitter. In theory, let's say, time goes by, Bungie continues to expand what we can bring into the weapon crafting system, right? Say there's no limit. You can reshape any weapon in the history of D2. As long as you have it in your vault, you can bring it to the weapon crafting and reforge it. What are you going to reshape?
Aniob D.
Really interesting. Okay. It's actually not a bad idea.
I don't think that would ever happen. But
it's a fun question, though. It's like more like, what's your favorite weapon, and would you want a perfect roll of it? What would that be?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Drew?
I don't know. Like,
he doesn't know.
Would this
probably
be,
the 5 out of 5 Waking Vigil?
Oh, true.
Drew's like, I don't understand the question. I have my perfect BR right now. I don't really get it.
New Twilight Oath for Drew.
Yeah, it'd have to be a new Twilight Oath. I have yet to get one.
Oh, that's a really good answer.
You gotta keep in mind though, Fallout, this last like 5 or 6 weeks, I have been on just an absolute grind, a shopping list of things I don't have but wanted to get, and I got most of them.
We did some good goddamn farming last week.
Yeah,
you
it's
and me,
boiler
Cam. That
grind,
was we just
eager edge the
blew.
flag, and
We nailed
go.
it, man.
Yeah,
Eager edge the flag,
actually,
bro.
it'd probably be like a cracked blast furnace. That's what I think I'd get.
Oh, a blast furnace.
That thing with kill clip was nuts, dude.
Oh, that would be a wild reissue in the weapon pool, and you could just pick your roll. Still, for me, it's probably going to be the main ingredient to get a firmly planted.
Boo.
Yeah, I know, boo. The firmly planted rangefinder one. That guy scarred me, man.
He really
That
did,
guy
man.
Scarred me. I finally got my flawless rumble challenge done, by the way, but I'll never forget that dude and his goddamn. And he's like, "Oh, I just found it. It was sitting in my vault." I was like, "You got to be kidding me right now."
Bill calls you,
kidding
is
me
your
right now.
refrigerator running? Like, oh no.
It's that meme in bed. I bet she's thinking about other girls, and you're like,
I'm literally,
and then he said it was just sitting in his vault.
it's me in bed at like 3 a.m. thinking about that guy and his goddamn main ingredient that was just sitting at the back of the fridge. God, what an asshole.
Oh, I don't want to like completely sidetrack us, but you asked about like
Sure,
craftable
yeah.
weapons, and they always change the sandbox and stuff. They said they're looking at snapshot on snipers.
Yeah, what does that mean? What do they mean by that? Like, is it going to be less of a criteria to get a sniper rifle, or do they
my
mean
God.
that it's a little too?
Or is it just going to be a selectable node on every sniper rifle ever? Like, what are we talking about here?
I feel like
Dude,
Cool Guy was just sitting on that. He was like, "Yeah, what does that mean? What is
dude,
that?"
dude, because the PvP pick rate for a snipe has to be at least 95% snapshot. It has to
It's
be.
like
for sure.
zombies. You should put it on.
Non-rapid fire, like 99%.
Yeah, it's got to have really. If it doesn't have snapshot, that shit better have really good handling. I'm talking like omega good.
I need firm patch notes on that.
Because otherwise, it just feels like you're wielding a shopping cart. Like it's just with a
If they
with a
didn't
broken
say that
wheel.
ominous snapshot nerf impending or change impending, I would have selected like the long walk or frozen orbit to craft. But now I'm not choosing my one craftable on something that might get nerfed. Nope. The long walk, for example, has a role that is overflow and adrenaline junkie. I wanted to just throw a flex nade down a lane, get a hit, and then just go on a 7th column by running over ammo with body shots. So if I don't have to have snapshot, that's what I'm going for.
Two more things
Yeah, go on.
that are really important that I'd like to discuss with you guys.
Sure.
The changes to sniper zoom
Okay.
and the nerf of chaperone. And, well, slug.
Please kick off your discussion topic.
So, chaperone's one of those things. Remember, like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, we were like, if they just did that one thing,
Yeah,
just a little bit, or like
Sure.
chaperone would be one of them. I don't think that it's going to be bad. It's still absolutely insane. Like, how many times you can get in-air headshots with chaperone is uncalled for.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's 100 range. It's just juice with roadborne. It's still going to be good. Duality, I think, is a little like guilty by association.
Accessory
It's exotic.
Accessory
Yeah.
to cheese.
Yeah, like I don't think duality is necessarily like it's a good utility shotgun, but I think that needed to happen. I do think that slugs are probably still the overall play compared to a lot of shotguns, even if those are getting nerfed. Like the blasphemer is out. It's really good. It's one of my favorites. Now the snipers, I actually wanted to hear what Drew thinks about that, because essentially they said that they nerf them their aim assist cone angle to a point to where the lower zoom that you use, the more it's going to be affected. The higher that you have, it's going to be actually helped out over 50. So like something like the telescope was just gifting headshots. It's really hard to mess with that thing. But something like Twilight Oath with its 35 zoom, apparently it's going to get a little love. What do we think about that?
I don't know how this change exactly is gonna work. They only mentioned like 2 polar opposite sides. We don't like this to our knowledge. The way that this works is it's curve, right? I believe. So if like everything in the curve is being adjusted, even if it's a small value, that means we're gonna expect 40 zooms and 45s to also see a difference. And because 50 was their middle, right? 50 was the middle reference if I remember correctly. So that'd be like your 0 point. And then that means anything like, I don't know, 55, 60 is going to be getting less, right? And then anything below 50 is going to be getting more, even if it's just a little bit So I personally, my personal opinion, I think I have a problem with this change. On the high end, I think that's a good thing because I mean we've seen some of the shots that like
Occluded
occluded
finality
finality
hits,
and
yeah.
stuff hits, and it's just like
Yeah.
what? Like you know, like
Love that
it's not
thing.
a practical weapon. I personally
Hilarious.
don't see it
Yeah.
as practical because of such high zoom, but like it's still like silly. Um, and then on the low end though, it's like low zoom snipers are the best snipers, and we can assume that they're only going to get better. And snipers kind of, in my opinion, don't really need any help right now because they're still incredibly strong. So
Yep.
I'm not really a fan that like I'm sure usage numbers wise it makes a lot of sense because no one's using Twilight Oath 35 zoom, no one's really using mini 40 zoom snipers. But like I don't know, I don't think they need to be any stronger. Like I think that they should be hard to use. They're snipers and it gets really, really oppressive at a high level.
I'm
To
with Drew.
interject, when we're talking about special weapons, I don't know what Bungie's relative balance target is. Like when I talk about chaperone, duality, slugs, fusions in a vacuum, I
Mhm.
wish all of them were weaker, like across the board. It's not make everything reach chaperone or make everything reach main ingredient. Doesn't need to be like that. Maybe everything should go down to reach Twilight Oath. That might be much healthier.
Yeah, I like I said, I think that snipers just, especially in trials where like for all intents and
Yeah.
purposes, whether you agree with it or not, trials is kind of like the, and I use air quotes when I say this, organized mode for PvP. And you know, and how Bungie positions it, and in elimination game mode, snipers just got that much more oppressive and stronger. So I personally don't like this buff. Um, Hopefully, it won't change much, but we were on the topic of flinch earlier, and with those two things, I don't know. I'm just not really happy about it personally.
I
One
think I'm
of
with you. Yeah.
one of my issues, man. Like I love sniping. I snipe a good amount, but you know, I always kind of refer back to and kind of what Cam was saying. Like, what do they want to happen here? Like, what's the target goal ultimately? Because Destiny, dude, straight up, and I bring it up all the time. Destiny is the only first-person shooter that I play that when you get a sniper low health, they still peek you, and there's still an extremely high
Yeah.
percentage of them
It's
still
so
killing you,
true.
dude. It's so true, dude. Like
Yeah.
in what other game, like in Halo, if you're sniping and you get hit, do you peek back out?
No, it's
You're gonna get
dumb
trashed.
move. Yeah.
You're gonna get trashed. But in Destiny, I will be literally 0 bar. I will be like on it 1. I can still poke back out. High percentage of taking you out. And Destiny's the only game that I've experienced this. So like that's kind of where mine always starts. I'm like, this scenario, like this 1v1 that we're having, that this can continually happen, that's kind of the issue out of the gate. So go from there to make it not happen as often. Sorry.
No, don't
that
apologize.
was good.
I
That
agree.
was
And I love
talking
and I
points
love to
right there.
snipe.
This man loves
Like-
to snipe.
The ego challenge is strong with the sniper rifle, dude.
Destiny kind of is like ego challenge the game.
Oh, for the record, if Snapshot gets hit, I'm just Cloud Strike main. I'm learning from Cool Guy.
Yes,
Apprenticeship.
sir.
Why is that? Because if every handling sniper is going to be slow, might as well use the one for maximum multi-kill collat meme potential.
Absolutely. It's also the zoom I'm used to. Yep.
Yeah, that or Borealis, dude.
Borealis
Yeah.
too. Same thing.
I've always felt if Borealis had snapshot, it would be used as an exotic.
It's a
pick.
fun 6 sniper too. You can play the mini game of trying to bank the body shots with transversive steps.
Man, I'm just trying to imagine a world where, like, I feel like if they were like, hey, you know what? We're taking snapshot, no longer a sniper perk. I feel like only the real diehards would be left. Not saying that I want them to do that, by the way. I'm just trying to envision that world.
That was Destiny 2 Year 1. You had the choice of a rocket launcher or a snipe. Therefore, if you saw somebody with a snipe on Game 7 in Trials, you were scared because they chose to bring a snipe.
That is true. Yeah, that's the kind of person that you're afraid of. It's like when I go into a game of Trials and I see someone with like all blue gear or something like that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
either
Oh, no.
we're about to liquefy this person, or I'm gonna I'm gonna end up in somebody's YouTube montage on Monday.
A high kill count weird weapon. It's like this random ass sidearm, and you see 37,000 kills. You're like, this just got interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, what end of the spectrum? Because he's not in the middle. He's on either end. We have to figure out what end of the spectrum he's on. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that was a quick little recap regarding the weapon crafting and the weapon tuning. If you've got any additional thoughts, you can either let us know right now live in Twitch chat, or maybe later on Twitter, or in our respected Twitch chats, what have you. But in the meantime, as you can probably imagine, the majority of the questions we got hit with on Twitter before the show tonight were about Void 3.0 and the living in a void world in Witch Queen. Cool guy, what up?
Oh, what's up, Drew?
Oh, I was gonna say, well, you mentioned the chaperone nerf as well.
Oh, sorry, am I jumping ahead too quick? Yeah, we can.
How dare you?
You got more to talk about the chaperone? Jesus Christ, no. No, go.
I
for
don't
it,
know.
Trey.
Cool guy, you mentioned it, so
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what do you got, buddy? I can rewind.
No, so when Cam and I played, we played multiple teams that had chaperone. We played a couple teams, and they were different teams that were running triple graviton invis chaperones.
That is very, very popular lately.
And their play was to get off radar, get a pick, and then go from there. Then one has roadborne, so one's just juiced, and the other two are just coming in invis at some point. And what we ended up doing, and it just depends on what you have. Like I switched to Witherhoard, and we were both running Bleak Watcher Shade Binders. So what we would do, this was on Endless Vale, we would play in field. And after the first round, we immediately, there was one flanker always, right? We figured that out. But what we would do is we would get to field, and the turret would find them. And it would shoot through ice if ice was there. We discovered that too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you could have a glacier nade up, and it'll just shoot the glacier nade that you have to tell you someone's behind the glacier nade. It's nuts.
That I didn't know.
So, and I also had Eye of Another World, so I could see them. They would be red in silhouette.
Yeah.
But essentially, once that thing went off, I just Witherhoarded my feet. And we made it to where essentially, especially towards the end, they would have to primary us. Or they would have to break their invis to primary us, because the Bleak Watcher would tag them, or they couldn't get really too close because they were choked off in such a way that the Witherhoard would touch them. So
that, and I also found out I could put turrets on the ceiling, so that's a thing.
Yeah, you should make a video on that.
How does one put a turret on the ceiling?
Oh,
you know
dude,
how
it's
Counter-Strike
stupid.
pros have like all their grenade angles on a notebook next to them in the grand finals?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna have that on my second screen. I'm just gonna say, all right, I'm placing the turret here. Look to diagram 4C. That's where the turret's gonna be.
That reminds me of back in the day. Can't remember when there was trials on Distant Shore or whatever. And before we went into trials, we were like, okay,
Distant Shore.
We literally, Cammy and I went into a private lobby, and we were trying to find like over the rainbow angles for Witherhoard
for the zone, so that they can't
for the zone, because that's
this
when
is back
it was
when you
going
carried
to,
over special into each round, so I could have like 14 Witherhoard going into a zone round.
So we were memorizing all these angles to be like, okay, when it's like 7 seconds left before the zone pops up, you stand here and look there and fire the Witherhoard. Oh, that was.
It worked though. It actually got a lot of mileage.
Really well
that weekend. Yeah. Also, like on Stadia, I play mouse and keyboard, so I get input delay, and it really struggles to aim. So if you can win by just preparing utility ahead of time, it's kind of nice. I wish there were more objectives in Destiny for that reason.
Yeah, they had like no idea what was going on when we would hit them like that. But yeah, someone actually on Twitter, question from Big Gucci Sofa Strength, wanted to know about our thoughts on the strength of Invis in 3v3, particularly trials, because like I've been seeing a lot of invis going on.
I think overrated, but it is
6
pretty
years
invisible compared to what it used to be.
Been the same way for 6 years.
Didn't it get buffed in like 6 months ago or something?
What was the buff
as far as duration?
Invisibility.
The buff, the quality of the invisibility, how easy it is to see a target became hard.
Interesting.
But even then, that wasn't my decision to use it. I could be fully visible and I'd still use it because it's just radar manip to me.
Yep.
Yeah, radar manip is fun for sure.
And there's Geminis with it, which I don't see enough of those. I always see Graviton and Wormhusk.
Drew does.
The way I look at it is, if I play a Void class, I get to use any exotic. If I don't play a Void class, I only have Geminis because radar manip is so important to me now.
I was gonna say I've seen the Drew play, which I really respect, is pretty much only using Gemini on like non-camo classes or something like that. I don't know if you're still doing that, Drew, but like you were doing like Arc Hunter with Gemini.
Yeah, it's one or the other for me. It's like Arc Hunter with Gemini because you can with either of the trees you refresh your dodge so often, or I go Graviton with Invis. I've been playing Invis a lot recently. But I'm the same as Cam, where like I don't really care about the visibility. I mean, it helps. I find it helps best against snipers, which is nice. Which I, again, think snipers are too strong in my humble opinion. So I like using it for that. But the visibility part is really just not why I use it. I just don't like the radar really, so I just like having ways to subvert the radar in some way, whether it be Gemini or Trapper.
I think that's worth getting into, Drew. Like, explain how you can subvert expectations and it's not just an instant win button. Because I saw so many teams use Invis this week and just barrel forward and wonder why it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, like, say what you will about Invis. I definitely understand the frustrations. But I think that part of like what I think of when I use Invis and like Way of the Trapper is I see a lot of players kind of like just kind of instant on activate it and go for like I don't know, just like go to close the gap immediately or like utilize the same aggression as they did before, like, as they normally would, or, you know, kind of sometimes go for a flank. But I think that a lot of the thing that you have the power to do with Invis is mess with people's timings. And that's like, I think this entire weekend on Endless Veil, a lot of what I just did was I would go and yeah, activate and like you can kind of like use different tools with the invis because you have a lot of tools to read where invis is and what they're doing, but like you can use those tools as an invis player to like mess with people. So like I would go to a different place to act like I on endless veil I would sit mid and like late peak mid, and I would go towards toilet to use my invis before actually going to use it, and I would make it sound like I'm going for a flank or something on another part of the map because I use my sound cue, and then I would at the last second just peek mid. And at this point, most teams have already broken into mid, so I get just free shots on them because they've checked and cleared mid, and I just kind of stand there until I have like 1 second left on my camo because I'm off the radar, and then I peek it. And then when they started learning that I was doing that, I'd show them a smoke nade, and I put a smoke nade there so they visually look at it and think, all right, that's a smoke nade. I know that's not a person. They would clear it, and then I would peek out again 10 seconds later or like 5 seconds later to mess with their timings and get free shots on them. So it's like just different ways to kind of subvert people's like I don't know. It's like super one dimensional. I think to be like, all right, I'm gonna camo and go for a flank. I think most players, when I was using it, like back when Graviton got buffed, most players like caught on really quickly. Like, all right, we heard the invis sound. We know he's gonna go for a flank, and sometimes I can still do that. Like, it's just you have all these options, right, based on what you think they're gonna do. But I think that you have to actively be thinking, what do they expect me to do, and like, how do I
Make it
I don't know,
awkward.
like make it like as awkward as
Make it
possible.
awkward.
Like, yeah, like I had some people using invis against me as well, and it's like I kind of just I'd hear their invis, and I'm like, all right, if I was playing invis and I know they're here, what are the possible routes they're gonna go? I'm like, okay, the most awkward thing I can do is just go invis and like circle back around the route that they're going to be. I anticipate them going to, so they don't see me on the radar. They think they're like just completely free, and then I meet them there, and I get an easy kill because I'm gonna get the first shot 'cause I'm anticipating them. So I don't know, it's kind of like a big mental game, I think.
Yeah, you're getting into like really funny like mind game territory a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's like you gotta kind of be anticipating like what could they do with Invis and how do you like possibly make that
So now on the
easier
flip
for
side,
them.
I think it's worth mentioning, how do you combat Invis? How do you best play against it? I feel like we came up with a lot of answers on Endless Veil, the shade turrets being the funniest. But as just a generic thing, you always have threat detector on your gun. If they're in the center of your radar, they will always trigger red. So if you can hug a corner or a very tight corridor and you know they're trying to flank through that tight corridor, as soon as you see your radar red, they're on top of you. So you might as well barricade up or shotgun slide out, that kind of thing. Other one, I have another world. Sunshot, you tag the floor, and it will show Invis through the highlight. There's a couple options for Invis. I know it's going to be even more popular in Void 3.0.
For
I
sure.
think a really good one will be Thorn. I
I
know Thorn
love
doesn't have the most
Thorn.
range right now, but on
Yeah.
this past weekend, this was definitely a map I think you could use Thorn on in terms of size.
Mhm.
It take damage ticks for like essentially wall hacks. So like if they do camo off, you get a clear telegraph of where they're going for like part of the duration. And a lot of people right now, especially hunters, which are the only ones that have access to invis, are not running high resilience. So I feel like that's a cool pick if you really don't like invis.
Oh, the
Thorn.
biggest one is Titan barricades. We saw a team with 10 resilience that put up a barricade and just looked through the barricade to see where the invis goes. And it's not like you can realistically get around the toilet area and make it behind them before they know what you're doing and you're back on radar. So they would just barricade up, one to the side, one in front, and look through it. And there is nothing you can really do about it.
So it's a mind game Uno reversal.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Not a bad idea.
in Void 3.0, there's still a lot that we're probably going to uncover and build. I mean, because
For
little
sure.
things start coming up for me of what they've already said. I'm like, there is a possibility with the weaken ability that the Wombo combo is going to come back. Like, so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's what PvP is like 7%. It might be enough
Something
to boost.
like that.
It's 15% in PvE. It's less in PvP, but like something like that could come back with like a vortex. So I'm excited. Nothing but good things in the future, I think.
I'm right there with you.
I think the wrap with the invis talk is like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are really frustrated. And it's a hot topic right now. I kind of refrain from having a lot of opinions on things like this nowadays, but like, and just more comments on its place in the meta to me. But I think that if I were to make one change to invis at the moment, is I'd probably make it more visible. I don't think it should be about not being able to be seen. It should just be another way to get off the radar. So like maybe it's just like more easily seen like it once was, and it's just purely just a tool to try and get off the radar.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, we're getting it.
Fair take.
We're getting into Halo levels of invis.
Yeah,
It's pretty strong in Halo.
The visual cues, it's enough to make you second guess your shot. Like, you know,
Spotting invis in Halo is the most gratifying thing to me.
It definitely
I see
is.
like one pixel out of place. I'm like, oh, I see.
Aha! Yeah. Did we get what we wanted to cover on Chaperone?
Yeah, it's good.
Right, cool. It's
Cool guy was the one. Do you guys think the nerf is going to be enough on Chaperone?
I'll still put it in a Trials top 10 category.
I'm still putting it in a Trials top 10. I mean, my problem wasn't as much the 16 meter as much as the margin of error.
It's just very forgiving. It's a very easy to use right out of the box gun.
I want to know that if I'm staring a Chaperone down at 14 meters and shoot him in the face with the hand cannon, that they're not hitting that.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, it's going to take a lot. Like, it's just a really strong gun. I just want it to be more of a choice, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
We'll see it fall out of the meta. I think the only thing that's going to happen is perhaps Lord of Wolves will find itself more in the meta, but I don't think Chaperone will go anywhere in terms of meta usage.
I think you're right.
Maybe one of these new exotics like that SMG completely just backburners something like Chaperone. Who knows?
That'd have to be a damn strong SMG.
Hey, we've seen it. I'm giving it everything.
Stranger things have happened. On God, bro. Question on Twitter from Castle. Have each person on the show share which character they think will have a broken build on Void 3.0 at launch.
For PvP or PvE?
Dealer's choice. I'm assuming he means PvP, but you know what? Go nuts, cool guy.
We just don't know what we don't know. Like, I am excited about the Nothing Manacle with the scatter grenade buff because they changed the actual scatter grenade. Like, that could be good. Like something like the fast Titan bubble. Because you're gonna be able to change out the melee. Like, you should be able to get something like Shield Bash, but if not, like if you already have a fast, it's 5 minutes 19 seconds. That's just a base. You're gonna get it faster than that. But throw on Doomfangs, dude, and you could start ripping out bubbles with something like Doomfang. Like there's going to be a lot of intricate things that you could do. I think that it is going to fall to Voidlock as far as broken stuff. That's what I think immediately. With
I'm
that,
on Team Titan, and my reasoning is just solely off data. They see a low percent of people playing Titan, crank that shit up to 11. That's what I think's happening.
That's
even from what I read, Titan doesn't look like crazy to me, but that's because I don't know like how much overshield are we talking here?
60.
Because if they're talking,
it's either 40 to 60. 40 to 60.
That's okay. But there might be some interaction I'm not thinking of, which is just like OEM levels of stupid on Titan. That's what I fear.
I'm kind of thinking it's going to be something to do with the Warlock and something to do with the grenade. It's going to be some combination of the two. Like the, I don't know, being able to oppressive darkness somebody with. I don't know what it is. I just remember reading about the Warlock changes, looking at the trailer. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be my first go-to. I'm going to gravitate towards that right away.
I was like, see, Hunter's getting screwed again.
Oh God, God help the poor hunters with their like 80% class pick rate in this goddamn game. I'm only half kidding.
Look, I only play Hunter 37% of the time, according to Bungie.
Oh yeah, did you guys get those stats?
Yeah, 75% Crucible for me.
Shocker. Cool guy plays a lot of PvP.
Oh, there is something in chat that I want to bring up because
go ahead.
Of the interaction. I mean, it has that aspect where you're going to throw down your Titan shield, get the overshield for you and your team. Like I do wonder if that's going to interact with the Titan's ramparts.
Maybe. Somebody on Twitter did bring that up as a question.
That would be cool.
That would be very interesting. I think that was from G-Brew on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know. They're really going all in with the power fantasy with Void 3.0. They're just kind of like, I feel like they had a whiteboard somewhere and they were like, Titans, overshield, and they just like circled it like 100 times. It's like, that's the power fantasy.
I'm disappointed that Titans and Warlocks can't get invis. I wanted them to have radar manip so I feel more comfortable playing them.
Wait, they can't? I thought they...
As far as I know from whatever fragments and aspects they've revealed.
Oh, I thought the whole thing.
Like, yes, there's fringe things like Rat King or something, but it's not as easy as just use dodge, get invis.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the whole thing with Void 3.0 is making these things more like all characters wide, like the verbs.
I think you might be right about that.
But it's like easier on some than others.
It's more efficient on some.
Look, even if it's garbage invis on Titan, let me do it, please, Bungie. I'm tired of people throwing the whole kitchen sink at my barricade just because they don't like me.
Yeah, I think we're getting confirmation that you will be able to do that, Cammy. I just don't think it'll be as dope as the Hunter.
We don't know how yet, though, so I'm so excited to find out how.
Yeah, that is true.
It makes Titans so much more playable to me, so those numbers are gonna go up.
So I think we have to 100% talk about the thing that got mentioned in last week's show of DCP, where I was kind of having a moment when it got revealed, and I will mention without shame that I almost instantly DM'd. We were still filming the show, and I instantly DM'd Datto. I was like, "You're gonna want to know about this." The nerf to Titan bubble. Y'all heard about that?
That's not concerning to me whatsoever.
Not concerning. Drew, what was that?
I didn't hear about that.
Oh, you didn't hear about this? Well, it doesn't surprise me. It was all over Reddit, but then again, who fucking goes there? Half joking. I got Drew to smile. I'm counting that as a win. Okay, so they mentioned we were talking to our good friend Kevin Yanis about the changes to Void 3.0. And Kevin had mentioned that he was like, I think we're also changing. Like they're changing the damage output for bubble, for the Titan bubble, for weapons of light, like going down to 25%. And like the conversation we were talking about PvP, and I was like, oh, you mean like weapons of light that for 25% is for PvP only, right? And he's like, no. So in PvE, I know we're primarily like mostly a PvP crowd here, but for PvE, they're toning down the weapons of light damage buff for Titan to 25%, which, if memory serves me correct, is going to be literally on par with the Warlock Well of Radiance. So like Kevin was mentioning, and we had a lot to talk about, so we did have to move on kind of quickly, but he was like, I pretty much straight up told him, I was like, I don't see any reason to run Titan in PvE if that's the case.
Thunder Crash is still crazy.
Thunder Crash is dope for great burst damage for sure. But yeah, right now the strategy, I mean, I guess it's interesting that they're trying to shake up the PvE meta, because the kind of carved in stone PvE meta now is like one person bring a Warlock Radiant Well for the health, and then the Titan bring the bubble for the damage, and then together it's like, oh, we form a fully functional strategy here. But now they're both giving 25%.
Meta standards.
But if they're both giving 25% and one of them feeds you health regeneration, and you don't have to weave in and out, you can just stand in a Warlock Well. Whereas the Titan bubble, you have to weave in and out of the bubble, and you can't shoot from inside the bubble.
Yeah, but we're just comparing the super, not the whole kit.
So
just the super. Yeah, that's true. If you compare the whole kit, I guess it's a little
like
different.
We don't have content hard enough in Destiny to where the whole kit matters. Like in high-end raids and stuff, when I'm helping like lesser skilled players, I'll barricade the darkness door of an ad spawn, and they'll walk into the barricade and be blind. Set up a bubble with Saint 14, and now we have 2 spawn points that are completely covered by Wither Horde, Anarchy, and they're blind in top of them. And then you just keep looping the barricades between 2 spawn points, and I've effectively stopped both spawn points. You can't do that on Warlock without a shade turret, which means you're not running well anyway. And
I'm not going to say that
we don't have content hard enough to where the whole kit of Titan matters. And so that's why 10% doesn't matter to me. It's not the difference between me one phasing anyway, because we're not using the bubble anyway.
I still think that, I mean, I'm going to agree with you that I'm not trying to say that the Titan bubble is like,
I just think it's blown out of proportion when we don't know what the PvE meta is going to call for us.
That is true. I should always give fair credit that it is never a good idea to 100% assume that you completely know what is going to happen.
Because remember
before new content actually drops.
What was that activity where they tried to knock us off the bridge because we were so powerful?
Knock us off the bridge. Right? Oh god, the Reckoning.
Reckoning?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Reckoning. Like, how do we know that the scaling's going to be different? Like that Hive Guardians aren't going to be so powerful that maybe the extra 10% really doesn't matter and you want more survivability anyway? Like a pure bubble versus a well. Just saying, like, why not to blow it out of proportion?
Fun fact, crazy timing. About an hour and a half ago, I put out a video exactly on this.
I saw it on Twitter. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet,
so
but I saw you were talking with
there technically are 2 other ways to get 35% damage.
Sure.
And the well isn't going to be, or the bubble strat isn't going to be bad. Because essentially, the trade offer is you're going to get a 2-minute faster super, and you could use that at any time. But usually, like when you're talking about damage phases, they're going to flat. I mean, it's 25%, right? It's not going to be 50%. It's matched because it takes the highest percentage. And another key point, because usually with the trees, because like we were thinking, well, Shadow Shot is going to have this, and then you get to choose between the supers. What they did with Sentinel Titan is the Banner Shield is going to be the base block now, right?
Yeah,
right.
So you're not going to be able to choose. So, but like currently, right now, Banner Shield's 35%. I think it's going to get nerfed to 25 as well. But right now, technically, you can get 5 people in a well with a Banner Shield in front, and you're doing 35% damage through that shield.
But the difference is that in order to do that, someone on the fire team has to do that.
Right, so you're taking one player out of the DPS rotation.
Correct.
Which means you can look at that as a positive, though. You can look at this as like have 2 Ursa Titans where one just uses a dump ammo type thing where you waste all your power ammo, and then swap the other one for the next DPS phase.
The other one is the Boots of the Assembler. Now, for that to work, the Empowering Warlock, so it'd be double Warlock. The Empowering Warlock would be behind the well. And the Noble Rounds have issue with people in stuff. So technically, the people that are in the well, they would have to go out, just like as if they were going to try to get Weapons of Light from a bubble. That's when they would seek them. Or the person, like, it would be a skillful thing because the person in the back would also they would have to have Lumina, because Lumina they would have to shoot them. So what would happen is 5 people would get in a well, and you'd probably have to pop the assembler well beforehand. Everybody get a blessing buff, get inside. So for about 7 seconds, they get max DPS at 35 seconds. Now the dude in the back with the Lumina, he would be DPSing, but he would have to switch and hip fire each teammate and then go back to DPS. That would be the 35% way so far that we know. Does that make sense?
Seems like it makes sense. I just don't think it's. I think
practical.
Yeah, but that's something. That's something like where bubble's still going to be fine, because say it's an area, and I talked about it. Like, say there's an area where just ads are trying to get in the phone booth and box everybody up and mess up your flinch and aim. Like, the bubble still has the Saint 14 blinding. You know what I'm saying? Like, the bubble still has use. It's not terrible, but I do think a lot of people are going to switch to Thunder Crash. Like,
probably, I think that's going to be the most simple thing. Like, they're just like, F it, bring one Warlock, everybody else run either. I don't know.
If Well gets nerfed, the bubble's in play immediately.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, I do feel badly for a lot of the diehard Titan mains out there.
I just don't think that 10% is going to be the difference maker to where I tell a close friend that they're not allowed to come to the Vogue Master because they're on Titan.
Well, I'm never going to tell somebody that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always going to have great viability out of a insane burst damage Thunder Crash, but I just think that people are a tad sad that one of their favorite roles in a PvE activity is kind of getting...
It's a big change.
Permanently, it's a big change to the meta. It's definitely a big shakeup.
I've been running Behemoth unironically in PvE. It's very good.
Yeah, isn't there that strategy where you just mash a bunch of ice in like Riven's mouth or whatever? Did they fix that?
Yeah, that's a thing, but that's not why I use it.
Oh, okay.
It's just generically really consistent for GMs. It clutches runs so much on its own.
Really interesting.
Just the whole kit.
Very interesting. I didn't think about that.
Loop Barricade, Loop Crystal, Loop Overshield, Loop Barricade, Loop Crystal, Loop Overshield, and you're invincible.
Fair enough. Any other thoughts currently about, because they did drop a lot of info regarding
the exotics
Void
look great.
3.0.
Yeah, the exotics look interesting. I know at first glance some of them seem kind of basic, but they're really cool.
Are we talking about the new armor or weapons here?
Armor.
The new armor.
Double cold snap enhance, which means double turret.
That looks.
Then we have
really
anime
wild.
reflection on the arc striders where they reflect projectiles and boost them. I'm imagining a ping pong game of Jotun.
I don't understand that exotic. It had some weird wording on it.
Okay.
I don't get it. Doesn't it already reflect stuff?
It does, but the enhanced. Okay, so one time I reflected an ogre's like eye beam back at it, and it did like 1/20th of its health, and then I shot one rocket and it died. I'm like, why would I ever reflect it? If that exotic means that the ogre gets melted, then I'm happy.
But like, you'd use an exotic on that? I mean, I guess that's cool for PvE.
It's another option.
So the big second part now is that it's gonna be like Banner Shield. I mean, it's gonna be dropping orbs as you're blocking.
Oh, okay.
I mean, imagine a world where, like, let's take the Lake of Shadows boss. Imagine a world where you just get close to him and box him out, just deflecting the whole time. You're maybe doing double, triple damage on the deflect on him. You're leaving orbs at your feet. And a part of that sub is Whirlwind Guard. So the Arc Staff does triple damage after you deflect something. So you're deflecting for more. And then when you're done, if you want to take a couple swipes, that's doing triple. Then you got orbs at your feet. So
we also don't know if it applies like the Nightfall bonuses in our favor. Like, for example, enhanced solar burn for enemies. You know, you ever die to a solar captain for shooting you once with the Lord of Wolves?
Shredded.
Imagine now reflecting that and it just instant kills them. Because you get the bonus of the Nightfall now. Does
anyone, like, my ears perked up when I heard about that. What are they called? It was for the hunter.
Then
the renewal grasp gauntlet for the hunter.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one. What does that do?
It's about the Duskfield nade. So it gives Guardians a much larger radius for the Duskfield nade, and also nerfs incoming damage for allies within the Duskfield nade range. Any target locked within that space will also deal out reduced amount of damage.
That sounds amazing. That's such a good zoning
Yeah.
tool. That's the first time I've heard of it, by the way. I haven't really been like finger on the pulse
Gotcha.
for Witch Queen. I'm just gonna play it when it comes out.
Yeah, I know you've
Sounds
been trying to
very,
milk
very
your.
powerful.
Yeah, it does. I read it immediately. It was like,
Because
wow.
that's the fastest grenade cooldown, and if they have the enhanced fragment aspect, whatever it's called, you get the little crystal on it anyway. So you also get damage resistance and a faster cooldown for breaking the crystal. Or a platform. I'm just thinking about that as a platform now because you get the little crystal, throw that up in the air, and you get damage resistance on top of damage
Exactly.
resistance. That's
I mean, yeah,
nuts.
didn't you already get damage resistance? Is that gonna stack with your current
And
damage
to
resistance?
make
That
matters
seems kinda
worse,
crazy.
even,
It could. It might.
even if
has
you're
in the
doing less
past.
damage, a one hit's still a one hit. You're still gonna snipe people. So that is wild.
Also, yeah, I also dig that if you hit them with it, then they're going to be doing less damage to you. Because right now it's sort of like, oh, you get hit with the dusk field, like, oh, I'll just walk out of it. Who cares? But like, you can also shoot back while moving out of it. But now when they try to shoot back, they're going to do less damage too.
I want to mention the Titan exotic that changes the barricade into a crystal row, which has essentially made the old rhyme farming now require an exotic. I mean, it used to require Heart of Inmost Light to do it efficiently, but I kind of like Bungie's balancing scheme. They're making some of the old powerful ways to play now cost the entire build instead of just a part of it.
The one that really made me like think was the sunspot one. If I'm understanding this correctly, when you're critical health, you just spawn a sunspot and get all the
Was
benefit
it?
from that.
Can you
What
repeat
happens when I
that?
melee?
So-
I can reread it if you want. I have the.
Yeah,
the
can you like
camera
read
double
that
here.
check?
verbatim?
That's the way I
I'm-
interpreted it, and I was like, "Excuse me."
Yeah, let me.
I had someone mention that to me, and I still don't think I understand it correctly because it sounds way too strong.
Like I can just be dueling them, and then boom, they get
Here
You
it
get
is,
more
Sunspot?
damage.
Like,
I don't
the-
think so
That sounds
Let
like
me read it, let me
OEM,
read it.
like
because of the next sentence.
The Lordly Splendor Helm for Titans is more than just a pretty face. It has the Cauterizing Flame perk that allows for sunspots to heal players when they have Sun Warrior. Critically wounded? No biggie. The perk also ensures that a sunspot is created in your location to give you that one last fighting chance with that quick grenade
That's it, though.
and melee ability recharge and longer supers. Plus
What?
more damage. Always a good thing.
Okay, so I win. You all asked what was the busted
apparently, like,
numbers. That's it.
what?
That's the Void 3.0 one. Just run
Those
that.
are your taxes when it appears too. Like, what?
And you also get the
Right?
rubber
Am I
band strafe on
misinterpreting this?
top.
No, it sounds pretty strong
Like-
that like you're hurt very badly. It's just gonna make
That's
you a
it, man. Week
sunspot.
1 trials. That's what I'm running.
They said that they wanted it to be the stag version for Titan.
Yeah,
That
the
sounds
fact
better
that it,
than stag. That's a
it sounds-
sunspot.
But it happens.
does it
just immediately-
automatically.
Like, right? Am I tripping?
That's
no,
how it
you're
reads.
100%
Like,
correct.
I
That's
shoot
what it
them
sounds like.
twice,
You're
let's say with a
critically-
hand cannon.
yeah.
Now they get a
You drop a
sunspot.
sunspot,
They get
heal, and now
damage.
you
I don't know what
get
that means.
enhanced
Is it damage, health,
I know you feel.
regen?
Yeah, with the warlock, you have to be like,
That doesn't
okay,
sound
I
balanced.
have to go. Where do I want to drop my rift? And then when you drop your rift, it's like, okay, now I can't drop another rift for like I don't know, like 30
Fallout.
seconds to a minute or whatever.
Wait,
and they
I'm
just gonna
surprised
give
the
me a
flavor
free
text doesn't say-
sunspot.
If someone dares to damage you, you drop a sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if
How
you're
dare
taking
you.
like what if you're taking poison damage going in and out of critical health? You're just getting sunspots right behind you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not here to like be also like a wormhusk apologist either. Like, I think that thing is just as dumb. But like, it's like is this not like a similar like kind of
I got
thing
you.
here? It's like, I don't know, man. That seems like again, what happens if does punching someone make someone critical health?
Yes.
Yep.
This is 100
Yeah, no,
damage.
it does.
Dude, like
Yeah.
dude,
What's
you're
gonna happen?
dude, your close range like 50-50 ties are about to be like
Jeez.
95-5.
Yeah, that's the matchup. That's what that sounds busted. That sounds like Lorentz Driver. If you pitch me Lorentz Driver right now before this season started, I'd be telling you the same thing. Like, wait, this linear fusion, we just nerfed Arbalest, by the way, has fucking tracking, and then you can collect little R2D2 sounds to now body shot everybody. Yeah, that doesn't sound
Like-
balanced.
Like correct. Please tell me if I'm disconnected by like, feel free to say it.
Sure.
From what I've heard from, I don't play Titan. I'm not going to pretend I play Titan. I occasionally, once in a blue moon, go play with Peacekeepers because they're dope. But like,
I
what
love
I hear from a lot of
Peacekeepers.
Titan players is like, hey, we want more like movement options, right? Like, you know, everyone talks about like Garrison. Like that's what I hear at least. Like, tell me if I'm wrong. And it's like we get like there's like the idea of like some sort of a movement exotic that I'll hold to as Twilight Garrison as like, I don't know, the representative of whatever that might be. and then there's like sunspots on red health.
Yeah, dude, but like I would hope that they thought of everything, because if you
That's
like,
OEM level.
like, dude, if you're telling me
knock on wood.
if you're telling me in trials that I could sit at Mohawk and shoot the wall and ricochet myself to mid health to give myself a sunspot for 20% more damage, we have an
What
issue.
if I told you can already do that, but it costs you your life? You can make a sunspot by nading yourself, no joke, and then give it to your
but
Phoenix
like,
straight
I really hope that they thought about things like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, when I read the TWAB draw, I didn't really. I guess that one didn't really hit me. I was just kind of in read the TWAB mode, but
I'm glad you brought it up because that one was weighing on me.
Pretty strong.
I read it and I was like, "Excuse me," and like I read it wrong. That's why I'm like, here. I'm like, did I read this right? Like,
When you read it, cauterize the wound. If they dare to damage you, you drop a sunspot. That's canon to me now.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
I guess
that's
I'm maining
again,
Sun Warrior now.
I'm not
Thanks,
trying to be
everybody.
apologist. Like, it's not that the Dustfield one isn't free either. Like the whole like double damage resist and like limiting people's damage. I don't know why damage had to even, in my personal opinion, be a part of the equation. Just make the Dustfield bigger, and I feel like that's.
And well, you know what we can do? I'll just be a stag lock right next to you, and we can just triple resist. You know, no big deal. No big deal.
Somebody in the chat just mentioned that new Titan helmet paired together with Tommy's matchbook.
Hurt yourself, drop the sunspot,
Yeah.
get all your health back.
Oh, I
No.
took that guy hurt me, but I'm not in red health yet. Oh, just give me a second. You just burn yourself into your critical. Like, perfect. Free sunspot.
Sick.
Got it,
I
bro.
hope that they thought of these things.
Yeah,
Maybe,
we hope they
dude,
did.
maybe like what is Whisper of Torment, where you get grenade energy by taking damage. Remember, you could do
That's
it.
correct. That's the one.
Yeah,
Mhm,
you could do it in the Titan Barricade. Like I wonder. Well, basically, I wonder, does it have to be applied by an enemy? Right? Like it needs to be coded that way.
Yeah.
We would hope so. But even then, like running through a Titan barricade to try to trade is now an option with that. Like, think about that. A Titan's behind a barricade holding a shotgun. It's usually not a smart play to run inside the barricade and try to melee him. But with those boots, you win that 100% of the time because you're dropping a sunspot by running through the barricade. That's so broken. That's so broken.
Oh my god,
Like,
I
you
did
can't
not
even counterplay
even
it with
think
other
of
Titans.
that.
It's so broken.
Just yeet on in there.
Thanks for the free sunspot, nerd.
Warlock got.
What did Warlock get? So they got those boots that everyone is talking about.
The Devour
one-
boots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
the
gonna be good.
Devour boots. Did you hear about that, Drew?
I don't remember.
You can read. With the Devouring Rift perk, the shiny walking sticks of power will grant a player Devour when they cast their Empowering Rift, allowing for damage from both allies and individual players. Allowing for damage from both allies and individual players, the ability to disrupt foes in style. So yeah, essentially you drop a Rift, you cast Empowering Rift, and you also immediately activate Devour.
That's cool.
Comments on that. If that works on Dawnblade, that's my go-to.
Neat.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I would imagine it would be limited only to Void, but then again, haven't there like 100% been situations in the past where Bungie has designed an exotic for like one class, but then you use it on a different like solar,
There's
or like a
some
different
soft
light tree.
situations like that, like no backup
Yeah.
plans, where it's like, yeah, you can get some melee energy, but you're not getting a thick overshield.
I would imagine that the goal is for it to only work on Void, but knowing Bungie, I'm gonna try it day one on like Solar Warlock.
I'm just thinking
case
Midtown,
they
drop an
overlook it.
Emp Rift on the long lane, get a kill, and then just pop Heat Rises, and for 30 seconds you have Devour and Heat Rises.
Yeah, goddamn. I think I'm looking over the list of questions here that people sent us. I think like most of these question topics we already covered.
I'm still hung up on those Titan
the
boots,
show.
but I'm gonna move on.
What's Warlock's other one?
The cold snap one, you get ×2 grenade energy if you're
Cool Guy said this in our card this
Running
week when
Cold
we were
Snap.
talking. We're like, oh man, those new Cold Snap gauntlets are gonna be good. Cold Snaps are already kind of good and people sleeping on it, but double turret. Then Cool Guy said this and it hit me. He said, finally, I use for like demolitionist weapons, and I was like, you're right. Your turret weakens them, you clean up with the cannon or something, and you get grenade energy, and now that matters because you can go over your single charge, start working towards the second turret. So that uptime is going to be crazy.
It also buffs the cold snap range too. So not only do you get a second one, but like it's better.
So you get a second cold snap charge, and it gives you more range on the cold snap. What does more range on a cold snap mean?
Tracking.
Like
It's more aggressive.
it'll travel farther to
More
reach
aggressive tracking.
somebody, you know. Yeah, better
I'm not gonna
tracking.
lie, I don't even know how the cold snap tracking works ever since they like completely changed it up, right?
Okay, so you
Remember
throw
when
it,
that happened?
Yeah.
it tries to find a single line path to an enemy. What it's saying is instead of traveling 10 meters, it might travel 15 meters in
There
that
you
straight
go, yeah.
line.
Sure.
So it's still pretty easy to avoid, but I do find that cold snaps cause the same panic that Axiom bolts cause, where it's like, oh no, a cold snap near me, better move.
And when you tag, it's going to give itself some grenade energy.
Yeah.
When you tag, like what would tag?
Like if they get frozen by the cold snap,
Oh, if you're
then you get
affected with it,
energy.
okay.
Yeah.
I will say that it's a very intriguing exotic coming from somebody who's played a lot of Shadebinder. What I like to do to supers is use most of my freezing kit. I'll hit them with the melee. Then when the melee dissipates, I hit them with the freeze rift. So if I could start timing cold snaps from farther away to refreeze supers, that just makes killing supers that much more consistent with Shadebinder.
I've been doing it
And
with
it
Witherhorde.
happens. Witherhorde
And to
too.
confirm,
yeah.
like you just,
Freezing
I think you
them.
guys just said it, but it means 2 turrets.
2 turrets, yeah.
Yep, that's something that people have been
Probably
talking
the
about.
strongest part about it.
So
right?
like if you go
58-second
into
cooldown by base for turret if you have 10 discipline.
so if you go into trials with 3 Shadebinder warlocks, each with that exotic, let's throw 6 turrets at the enemy.
Remember,
Yeah.
Kickstart doesn't work on those double charge gauntlets though, so it is going to be a true 58 seconds.
It does work, I think, if you use both of them immediately. So if you use one and you're out of charge, and then you use the second one, and then there's like 0 charge left on the.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
talking
right.
about? Like it'll only
Understood.
work on the second one. It won't work on the first one. But you're right, yeah. But yeah, harassing people with multiple Shadebinder turrets seems
things like
interesting.
bolstering, like on the void gloves.
Yeah, bolstering and focusing strike, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even communicate it to Cool Guy in some of these games in the card, but one time we like melee froze, riff froze, melee froze again, threw a grenade at the guy, and it's just like wombo comboed him to death. I'm just imagining these gauntlets adding 2 more freezes to that insult injury.
You know, what I immediately thought of, I mean, it depends on how much grenade energy it does give back. And if you're using something like a demo weapon, it isn't a popular choice anymore, but Hedrons is a good buff of what all that it gives you. And with something like those Cold Snap Duel, if you have it set up correctly, you can be in a pretty constant state of that buff being up.
I piqued Drew's interest today when he stopped by my stream. I was running cold snaps, trying to crank the aim assist of a low aim assist pulse rifle. He's like, oh man, imagine Hedrons on last word. Like, yep, that's a thing.
That's pretty funny.
That's the thing for
I'll
sure.
try that.
I feel like it's a pretty good place to end our show here, boys. We did a quick little recap of both the weapon crafting system moving forward, quick little recap of the Void 3.0 changes, new exotics going into Witch Queen. I'm feeling it. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk about Monarch, but we'll have Merc back here in late February, early March, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. Big congratulations to our very good friend Mercules getting married. Love you to death, brother. Have you back on the show soon, and all the best to you and the new missus. But in the meantime, thanks to everybody here for joining us for our final show before the Witch Queen. We are goddamn thrilled to jump into it. We're going to have to kind of make sure we get together and pick what days that we're going to do the podcast, because I know pretty sure everybody here is going to be prepping for the day 1 raid race, which is going to be a lot of fun. So I will make sure that we somehow get the podcast schedule worked out, because I know people want to hear from us, but I also know we do want to prep for that raid.
Oh, yes. And if you do plan to do the raid, do the legendary campaign.
Yeah, for sure.
Do that
For the armor.
If it takes forever, that's fine. It's a disservice almost if you're not going to go for day 1 raid. And which, by the way, Merc, remember your bachelor party on March 5th around, I don't know, or noon. So hope to see you there, buddy.
Yeah. So we're just going to go around the table real quick and let you know where you can find each of us when we're not here on the show. Cammy, where can the people find you?
twitch.tv/CamiCakes, youtube.com/CamiCakesGaming. Thank you.
Beautiful. Drew, how about you?
Twitch.tv/Drewskis, YouTube Drewskis channel.
Didn't you also start a Yu-Gi-Oh channel? I want
Yeah,
to plug that.
plug the second channel, Drew. Come on.
Let's go.
Oh man, I have to say the pun out loud.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
let's go.
I don't even think I have a URL yet. I mean,
No?
if I do, I haven't.
Oh, well,
asked
just
for it,
well,
so-
what
tell
is
them
the
what the
name of the
search is
channel?
fine,
Yeah,
whatever,
tell them the name
man.
of the channel.
It's
Yeah.
Drugio.
I love
Yeah.
it. I
As
love
by
it.
popular demand
Yeah.
of like everyone in Fallout, I made it that.
My man. Yeah, if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh, check out Drew's second channel for sure. Anyway, cool guy, where can the people find you?
Twitter and YouTube, Cool Guy Games, and Twitch is I am Cool Guy Games.
Sick. And I'm Fallout. You can find me at youtube.com/FalloutPlays, twitch.tv/FalloutPlays. Appreciate all of you. Thanks very much for tuning in.
Massive
Oh,
Breakdown podcast.
Yeah, massive breakdown.
And then like Angie Twitter, Elmo tweets. Mercury's
got-
904.
Mercules 904. Definitely reach out to him if you have an anime profile picture or a hot take about Stompies or Star Wars. He has a Star Wars podcast too. But thank you very much for joining us here on the Firing Range Show. We appreciate all of you, whether you're live on Twitch or listening at home. Have fun next week. Enjoy the Witch Queen, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.
GG.
Okay.
I stopped recording. What
Audience
are those
leaves.
Titan
Cut. We're
boots?
still live. We're still live here on
Okay, what?
it's the Titan helmet there.
43.
Dude, yeah, those
That was
exotics,
43.
man.
Yeah, they're wild, bro. Good show tonight, boys.
That was
Who
fun.
shall we raid? We're still live on late Twitch, but who we got here?
I just thought we could stay here forever.
What about sides?
There's sides.
Well, considering I'm probably gonna play Banner with him next,
Yep.
I don't know.
There's Glow. There's Snackless who's playing D2.
Glow? Who is that? I don't know who that is.
Glow used a bow last time I played with him.
Oh, then he's not. Then Glow's not getting that host.
It was only one.
It was only one time. Yeah. Why not Glow? We like that. We like Glow, right?
Sure.
All right, there we go.
Hey,
Thanks, everybody.
Tell Glow we need to play some games.
He
Cam.
just got followed by Popeyes on Twitter.
Yeah, big deal.
That's a big deal. We got to celebrate that with a raid. Thanks very much for tuning in. We appreciate all of you. Have a great weekend and have fun on the Witch Queen. See you soon.